episode 8 of the Beardcaster. My name is Scott Sikora, and I am the Beardcaster. Welcome once again to the fine podcast about beards and mustaches, the people that wear them, the people that are involved in the world of beard and mustaching, the charities we work with, the products we use, and just all around fun things that we do and the fun things we're about. Once again, I am Scott Sikora. Thank you for joining me for another exciting, fun-filled, action-packed episode. Yes, I did say action-packed, and there's so much action that your radio or your earbuds might explode, so I'm just putting that fair warning out there. So today's episode is with a man named Mike. Yes, Mike. He is the organizer of an event called Mustachio Bashio, which has happened for the past 10 years in Cleveland, Ohio, and each year it happens at the Barley House. So take a listen to that interview. He explains what it's all about. He explains the history of it and all the cool things, including the charity they work for, which is called the JDRF. So make sure you listen to the whole episode so you can get all the information you need if you, by some chance, live in the area and you want to check it out. So listen. Next on the agenda, I'd like to discuss this week in news. That's me making the fun news sound. I know I could probably put like a sound sample in there, but that was just much cooler. Let me do it again. Okay, so I was surfing on the internet this week, and I came across this really cool Kickstarter page for a company called Grizzly Jack Beard Company. And they are trying to raise money to make these really cool new brushes and combs. Now, I watched the video and the whole presentation, and I was sold on it, and I thought it would be really cool to talk about. The only problem is I don't have one of these brushes right now, so I couldn't really test it out and give you an opinion of how I felt about it. So I was like, oh, that really sucks. So the morning that I was thinking about this, I checked my phone and up pops a new podcast episode of something I'm subscribed to. So I look at my phone and new episode of the Drunken Beardsman podcast. Really excited because it's been a few weeks since Dan's posted one, and it's an awesome podcast, so you need to check it out. So I downloaded it, and I was at work, and I started listening to it, and Drunkle Dan starts talking about this really awesome Kickstarter and this product called Grizzly Jack Beard Company, and their brush. And I was like, holy crap, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. But he had the upper hand on me. He actually had gotten a brush. So he had been using it for a few days, and now he is the definitive expert on this brush. So I reached out to Dan, and I said, hey, Dan, could I take an excerpt, which is a portion from your program, and play it on mine so everyone can hear what you thought about it and get an actual testimonial from someone who's actually used the product. And, maybe you can convince them more than me, who hasn't tried it, to donate to the Kickstarter. So he responded back and said, sure, no problem at all. But, the funny part is he's Australian, and when he wrote it out, it just looked normal. So he didn't sound any different in the email. So, but when you listen to him, he's Australian, man. Awesome. I love listening to his voice because for us, we don't get to hear that accent very much around here. So why don't you take a few minutes and listen to this little interview, or not? Jesus, I really stink today. Why don't you take a listen to Drunkle Dan talking about the Grizzly Jack Beard Company Kickstarter? Take it away, Dan.
So a couple of weeks back, I was contacted by the man behind the Grizzly Jack Beard Brush. Now, this is a new product that hasn't even hit the market yet. It is in the middle of a Kickstarter campaign, which I'm gonna have to create a bit of a link dump for this episode in the show notes there. So if you want to find anything that I have been talking about this episode, just look at the show notes and follow the links from there. So Mr. Jack has kindly sent through a sample of his beard brush for me to have a bit of a play with, have a bit of a fuck around with, give it a go, and share my thoughts with it. So, look, now we here, we don't like to shit on criticism, but by the same token, if we do find something that we really do enjoy, we sing its praises from the treetops. And I got to tell you people, this brush is mint. Fucking, where to begin, man? So a bit of information about the guy himself. He's been in the hairbrush sort of industry, I suppose you'd call it, for about 10 years or so now. And having a finely groomed beard himself and having many bearded friends, he discovered that one of the main complaints amongst his bearded friends was not having a decent brush. Now, we all got our own little ways and methods and rituals, I suppose, when it comes to taming the face mane as it is. But a lot of the common complaints are there, of course. So, you got a lot of problem with a lot of products with being a rather pulley sort of beard or brush, or just not being able to get right through into some thicker beards, having a bit of problem with tangles without trying to rip, pardon, ripping great big clumps of fucking hair out. And, just generally not having one product that can seem to do everything. I myself have actually, before this brush, used 3 different brushes, two combs and a ball bristle brush, which of course is in just about every bearded man's arsenal at one stage or another. So, listen, there is a video on the Kickstarter explaining what he is all about. All I can tell you is that on the Kickstarter, he is looking for about $15,000 to get started. It's going to start with 3 different products: a militia brush, a wrangle comb, and a traveller comb. Now, of course, these things here, this is his words, not mine, of course. It's for any beard style or thickness or anything like that. The teeth on both the beards and the combs are flexible and rounded, so they're not so stiff. And they've got the nice little round knobs which help with the tangles and make it a bit gentle. It also helps with massaging, cutting down pain, detangling, helps with the styling and the volume. They're anti-static and they're barber approved. Now, if you have a look on his Kickstarter page, there is quite a lot of testimonials and endorsements by quite a lot of people out there in the bearding community, a couple of beard companies, a couple of beard groups, a few barbers as well. Now, look, down to the thing itself, what I really like about this, especially with the brush, is it fits rather well in your hand. It's got a nice little curved sort of design to it. It's one of those ones you sort of grab, not by a handle, but by the brush itself. And the bristles themselves, the teeth on this brush are just fucking fantastic. Now, one of the brushes I do use sometimes is a similar sort of thing. It's got the flexible plastic teeth on them with the little rounded knob at the end of it. Unlike those, these appear to be one full piece instead of having like a bit of being dipped in something to get that little bulb at the end, which really does help down with detangling, as well as sort of helping make sure nothing sort of catches or jags or nags or anything like that. As compared to a standard sort of hairbrush, which only has about 200 bristles, the Grizzly Jack brush has about 316, with his combs as well, having 3 rows of bristles with twice as many teeth as your standard comb. I suppose having 3 rows helps with that. Look, man, I've got to be honest with you. I found this brush to be fucking rather superb. It is, in fact, superseded most of my all my other things on a daily basis. Like if I'm trying to, really pretty myself up, I might go to give everything a bit of a going over with the ball bristle brush, just because it does help with those surface wire fucking wild hairs that you seem to get, especially if you've got a crazy sort of ginger beard like myself. But all in all, man, look, I'm going to be getting myself a couple of these, one to throw in the car, and one to go on my travelling kit, because I tell you what, man, I'm not even fucking kidding around. This has taken over 3 different fucking, 2 different combs and a brush, And I use it every day. I use it absolutely every day. It's become my new favorite fucking brush. And by all means, you need to look it up. You can search on the Google, Kickstarter Grizzly Jack. He's got about 39 at time of recording, so probably 34 or 35 days left of the campaign before it ends. He's looking for about $15,000, and he's got, at the time of recording, a bit over 5.5. So he's getting there, and this is a campaign that will not go ahead unless all funding has been reached. So I highly, highly recommend you all go out there and swing some dollars his way. He's got a number of different rewards. I mean, you get the brush or the comb, or the brush and the comb with every reward. So it's well worth looking into. And for the international customers, i.e. everybody who doesn't live in the States, his shipping is a little bit high, but that is mainly because he ships everything with FedEx. And I shit you not, 3 days later, you've got it. You know, I live in the middle of fucking some fucking armpit of Queensland in Australia. And from the time I sent my address through to the time I got it was literally 3 fucking days, which is damn near fucking unheard of, you know what I mean? Especially where I live. It takes me fucking 2 days to get shit from Brisbane to fucking where I am most of the time. So, you know, it's worth the extra fucking bit of dosh for that freight, because you do get it in a quick and timely fucking fashion. So that's Grizzly Jack. And Grizzly Jack. So go ahead, find him on the Kickstarter, find him on the Facebook, find him on the Instagram, find him on the Twitter, I do believe. And tell him Dan from Drunkle Dan from fucking the Drunken Beersman said g'day, because, you know, why not? Let him know who fucking sent you.
All right. Thank you, Drunkle Dan of the Drunken Beardsman podcast. You can get a link to his podcast and the Kickstarter program if you go to my show notes below in, well, whatever device you're looking at it. You got to scroll, and then they'll be like right in the middle. You can't miss it. Okay, so I met Mike last week at a place called Cowboy Food and Drink in Bainbridge, Ohio, and we recorded this podcast, or the interview section of the podcast. We had a couple drinks, and we were served by a very lovely waitress, Janet, who left us alone and let us do what we did, and she was very kind, so we wanted to say hi to her. So we discussed everything about the Mustachio Bashio. Once again, you can go to the show page and scroll down, and in the show notes, there's links to all of this stuff we talked about. There's a link to Mustachio Bashio, so if you need any more information that you might not have gotten from this podcast, you can go there, check it out. You can also go to the Cowboy Food and Drink if you happen to live in the area and you want a really cool place to go out to. Go check it out. So without further ado, here is my interview with Mike, and action.
Yeah, like, is that someone famous over there being interviewed?
Yes. It's Mike Lowry. Laur.
It's close.
It's French.
It actually is.
Yeah. Well, I was like, as I'm like sitting, I'm driving here, I'm like, all right, can I go the French direction with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
The French connection.
The French connection. Yeah, Lauer is German. Laur is French.
See, because I was correlating it with louder Scotch, which I know there's no D in there, so
yeah,
and it's definitely not pronounced the same. So
yeah, it's actually from families in France with laurel trees on their property.
What are laurel trees?
Some kind of tree. Not overly familiar with them, but it is the namesake. So,
all right. So we're sitting here at a establishment called Cowboy in Bainbridge, Ohio. We are not actually in a Cowboy, but technically we are. We did not climb up inside his rectum, but we damn near killed him, though. All right, so introduce yourself.
I'm Mike Laur, the organizer of Mustachio Bashio in Cleveland, Ohio. Going into as we're sitting here talking about it, our 10th year of the Bashio. So we're an established event now.
All right, yeah, and I felt terrible because I'm like, we've been sitting here for over an hour already, and we've had the most amazing conversation. I'm like, what morons are we that we don't have the microphones on yet? But we had to get a couple beers under our belt to like get really comfortable for this.
It was a dress rehearsal.
Yeah. So then I'm like, well, we're just gonna have to go over all this shit again. So, all right. So, okay, tell me who you are, what you are, and what you do, and why we should pay attention to what you are and do and all that stuff.
That's a long loaded question.
I know there's no prepared questions for this, so
no worries. Actually, been in Cleveland about 10 years now.
You said you were from Arizona, correct?
Or Michigan.
Oh, I know they're both tropical.
One of the two, both tropical. Yeah, lots of water.
Yeah,
not Arizona. Yeah.
They're exact opposites.
Basically, yeah.
One's cold and wet and full of water, and the other is dry and warm and
void of any natural resources.
Yes, except cacti.
Cacti and Joshua trees.
There.
So
Michigan.
So grew up in Michigan, went to Michigan State, just had a rough NCAA tournament week for us. So
Are you done and over?
Yeah, first round, man.
Oh,
gone.
Sorry.
Yeah, most people had been picked to go to the Final Four, if not the national championship, and bowed out in the first round.
Well, my apologies.
I'm glad you didn't know about that. Actually, you're like the one person that hasn't mentioned it to me this week.
Well, I don't follow basketball, so I do not follow sports, and
there you go.
We got the music turning up louder.
Sweet Caroline going.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, so basically...
what did you study at college?
Biosystems engineering.
So that has nothing to do with growing a beard or a mustache?
Nothing to do with growing a beard or mustache, yeah.
Are you sure? They can't be somehow tied into each other?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh. All right, so what exactly is that?
Basically, it was... an engineering curriculum with a biological spin on it. So you could choose environmental engineering. I actually did food process engineering, biomedical engineering, all that kind of stuff. So
isn't that biological could be hair engineering?
Could be. The growth of hair is biological process.
So technically you did go to college for hair growing engineering.
In a roundabout way, sure.
Yeah. We'll go in the back door.
Most people just say I'm Clark W. Griswold. He was the
he had that spray.
Yeah, the non-nutritive cereal varnish. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what do you? Okay, so you transplanted to Ohio because of the Mustachio Bashio, correct?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, work was a byproduct of it, but yeah, Mustachio Bashio obviously is the main reason to move to Cleveland, Ohio.
That's a really good reason.
So I basically had a beard one winter, and by the time the springtime rolled around, I was tired of it. Apologies to you, Scott. I know you keep yours.
Oh, no, that's quite all right. I don't have any problem with people that shave. I just make fun of them after.
There you go.
After I get away from them.
So I had a beard for a winter and ended up meeting up with a couple of my buddies that had beards also. We decided...
Let's go back to what year this was.
This would have been 2006.
Ooh, that's
so a decade ago.
It's like decades ago.
Yeah.
Almost 48 years ago.
Well, give or take.
Yeah, and I'm not good with my math, so...
You didn't have the engineering degree.
Yeah, see, I'm a squeegeologist by trade.
Squeegeologist.
That's a
technical term
for window washer.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
And back in the day, I used to be an aquatic flow engineer. Do you know what that is?
I'm guessing plumber.
No, I used to hang gutters. So
type of plumbing.
Yeah. So yeah, and I did do plumbing, but okay. So, what was I saying?
Take us back to 2006.
Oh, yes. We're going in the Wayback Machine.
Yeah,
so.
Wayback Machine. So,
okay, go. And action.
So the four of us ended up going out on Coventry one night.
Who are the four of us?
This would have been Mr. Davis Shoemaker, who
does not make shoes.
Co-founders, does not make shoes.
But he has the last name that would indicate that he would.
Correct.
All right.
I'm guessing back in olden times, he came from a shoemaking family.
Probably. Okay, who else?
A guy named David Moda, who's no longer in Cleveland, and a guy named Kevin Holmes, who is no longer in Cleveland. So,
all right, he's no relation to John?
No, not at all.
Okay. And you're laughing like you know why he wouldn't be related to him.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so the four of you guys were just out
on Coventry having a good old time with ridiculous mustaches, and now you think about it, like, it's pretty common. Guys have mustaches and beards now. Back then it wasn't so well received. So we stood out for sure.
Yeah, well, I come from that same crowd that brought that time too. 2006, I had a huge beard, and just like we were talking earlier, it's like you walk into a place and it's like everyone just like stares at you like you're a freak of nature. But I mean, hey, you had the benefit of having 3 other friends that partook in that same thing.
We had
I didn't. So.
Yeah, we had some strength in numbers for sure.
See, I was the outcast in my town. No one had beards. Everyone always looked at me, pointed at me. Kids would make me cry. I'd get kicked in the shins. But okay,
it's rough life, man.
I know. Well, that's because I had a beard. You had the mustache. That was a little bit more socially acceptable
maybe.
in the in the mid 2000s.
And you still stuck with it.
Oh, I don't know why. Yeah.
You have a greater sense of self-worth than most. You can take the abuse and
well, I know now it's like everyone does it, so I just kind of fit in. I'm like,
you set the trend.
Well, I could say that, but I'm not going to take.
And I can't take full credit. I just grew a mustache in the springtime. Like it's gone after the event's over. So you start with a fresh new palette for the next year.
All right, so you guys would go out and about. So I keep interrupting. Sorry, you give me good you lob me these softballs.
Some jumping off points.
Yeah.
So that was the first year, and then the next year, similar story. Had a beard again. Emailed the same group of guys like we should do this again, and they must have forwarded it on to some other friends who forwarded it on to other friends, and all of a sudden we ended up with about 30 people going on a mustache bar crawl in downtown Cleveland.
Now, what year was this now?
That was 2007.
Oh, geez.
So the very next year, we pretty much quadrupled our numbers, made some T-shirts up, made it official, and the girlfriends at the time surprised us and ended up making some awards. So then we had a standard to live to at that point.
Now, what categories were you?
Oh, man, at the time it would have been... Some of them still exist. So we have the Best in Show, which, of course, is the face that gets on the T-shirt the next year. We had... The porn stash, self-explanatory.
Was this the dad stash too, or is that a newer one?
It's a separate one. Dad stash was there. There was the most rugged, and I believe the other one was the nice try.
Oh, that's always. I love that one.
You got to throw it in. I mean, not everybody could grow one. So.
No, they can't.
So yeah.
Okay, so the girlfriends made up these little awards.
Made us some little awards. So we had awards. So we felt proud of ourselves. Got a little recognition, and then. The next year, we decided, you know what? As we were going around from bar to bar, we would notice we had another 10 people following us, and then another 10 people following us after the second bar, and it just kind of, by the end of the night, there was about 50 people all kind of traipsing around.
So it's kind of like the Warriors?
Yeah, just kept picking up as we went.
Yeah, and then you had a big brawl.
Huge brawl at the end, because people didn't get their awards, and they were furious,
stabbing people.
Yeah, exactly.
Left and right. There was blood everywhere. Chaos.
Downtown Cleveland, 2007.
Well, yeah. I'm surprised you survived that one.
I know. It was rough. But again, strength in numbers. So
now we're on to 2008.
2008, we're like, man, this might be something now. We did the T-shirts again, and we decided we're going to honor the Best in Show stash now. So their face is going to get on the T-shirt, and you know what? We might as well do this for a good cause. Let's get a charity involved. We let the Best in Show winner that year, Chris Charbel, who now lives in Los Angeles but comes back every year.
Oh, wow.
It's his holiday.
Very good.
He says it's his Christmas. So
that's cool.
So he's a diehard Bashio attendee, and we let him pick the charity the first year, and he thought for a little bit, had a furrowed brow.
I love this story.
and he's like, well, you know what? That Wilford Brimley has a nice mustache. And we're like, he does? And he's like, and he does diabetes medication commercials. Like, yes, he does. Let's go with the diabetes charity. So that's how we picked JDRF.
Well, I'm glad you didn't go with the old Quaker Oat campaign that he had done before that. So
yes, I mean, a much better cause, The
Quakers
JDRF
don't need any more oats.
Yes. So that's, JDRF stands for Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. They're the foremost charity organization doing type 1 diabetes research. So
you're not saying it right. It's diabetes.
Diabetes research. So
yes.
We're very happy to support them. We've been working with them since 2008. So
okay, so you got involved with them in 2008. You've stuck with them.
Yeah.
You're So this year's event is also for them.
Absolutely.
So they're your primary charity that you've worked with, and you're sticking with them.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're going into 2009. Okay, well, how about this? Do you remember what you guys were able to raise for them back in 2008?
The first year, I think we raised $1,200.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was the first year. And again, this is all off T-shirt sales, so...
and this was before the internet, so people really didn't know what was going on.
It did not exist yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, basically. So
so this was all word of mouth. You were passing...
Actually, it was, because we didn't have a website. We didn't have really a Facebook event page for it at the time. So it was all, my buddy wants a shirt, this guy wants a shirt. And that's how we raised all our money, was pretty much word of mouth and people inviting their friends, yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. I mean, for me, my involvement was a random one day just searching on the internet for beard and mustache competitions. I didn't know they existed, and I found one that was occurring in Cleveland one day. And this was, I think, 2011, maybe 2012. And like I said, your stuff didn't show up. I had no idea about it. And that was about the same, I think it was about the same time. I think it was called the Cleveland Beard Off. That was the one event, and I think it was its second time in Cleveland, and then it fizzled out after that. It was a traveling beard show.
Okay. I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm surprised that I didn't even see your. I mean, not that I probably would have never even gone because it was a mustache competition. Because now I realize that they all go together. We're all one big happy family. But I had no idea, and this still stuns me, and it stuns all the guys in our club because we've all been going to competitions for a long time, and somehow, some way, your competition has flown under everyone's radar.
It's not saying a lot of good things about our promotional abilities, but
that being said, as we've talked, and you've told me the amount of people that have showed up at your events is astronomical, and it far surpasses the amount of people that come to a lot of these events that people or other clubs have promoted for months and months and months at a time, and that's just amazing to me.
I think part of it's our you call it a competition, and a lot of people probably don't even think of it that way. Mm-hmm. It's more just a night to kind of goof off, drink some beer, and check out some really ridiculous facial hair.
Yeah.
And obviously I was telling you that the best in show category definitely gets some competition because everybody wants their face on the shirt. But some of the other categories, best theme, definitely the porn stash, get a little silly, and people kind of just go all out for those, and it's not as much a competition as it's just kind of a goof.
Yeah, definitely. I had, like I said, last year was my first time there, and you and I had contacted each other, and I actually had heard about this event from a local Chardonnay, Chris Walsh, and he had won it the best in show one year. I don't remember what year it was, and he has a nice he has very nice chops, Fu Manchu mustache actually, and every year he would tell me, "Hey, you got to go Mustachio Bashio." I'm like, all right, this was probably like, as I say that, I'd never heard of it before, but it would always be this random in passing, "Hey, Mustachio Bashio," and I'm like, all right. And then he'd kind of like,
when is it? When can I go?
Where is it? Yeah, where? Yeah, what? Yeah. And that would be kind of it. So I was familiar with the name. I'll tell that much. I was familiar with the name. Knew nothing about the event.
Well, I think you know our DJ too, right?
Yes.
Gene?
Yes. So. And I know him through the music scene in Cleveland, but both of us DJ'd at John Carroll for a while. So he would do Friday nights, and I was doing Thursday evenings at the time, but that was once again another shocker. As I walk in there, I'm like, oh, look who's here. And then another tie-in, here's a good one for you. Gene went to school with Dr. Adam Cosgrove of the American Mustache Institute. so there's a weird tie-in here, how everything, we all knew each other for a very long time.
All brought together by Mustachio Bashio.
That is exactly it. I mean, that really, it boggles my mind how much a beard or a mustache worn by someone, just their personal choice of facial hair, and then how they use that to get involved in a charity, going out with their friends, drinking beer, whatever, and then you find like-minded people find you kind of start growing a group. I found a group, and then everyone somehow is all intertwined together. That's the part I find amazing. So and then on top of that, we're all out doing the same thing. We're all out to do it for a charity.
Yeah, it's all for a good cause. That's the best part of it. It's, a bar crawl can be a bar crawl, and it doesn't really do any good for anybody, but this event, people have a good time, and
it might
raise some money.
And it might be their one night out a year they get to go out, too.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, our events are a lot different, so...
Yeah, ours is definitely a little more
laid back.
Yeah, it's more of a party. The competition part is kind of an afterthought. It's a good culmination to the night. Everybody's up on stage. The crowd's always great. The judges have a good time, but it's definitely more about the party and the community and everybody having a good time up until the time that the awards are given. But obviously, it's always nice to get an award. But the whole event itself is really about the party aspect.
And I would like to thank you too, because you made a special category last year for beards, and guess who won that one?
Yep. Who else could win that one?
I know. Well, there were
a couple.
There were a couple other guys there.
That's the other thing too. There was a lot of blowback last year for the fact that the Best in Show was not a true mustache, which I didn't hear about until afterwards. They're like, there was no separation under the chin. It's like, but the thing was ridiculous. Jerry's thing that he has on his face was the best show there.
Well,
but
yeah, and I mean, and what I'm expecting for this year is a lot more participation from my club, so there will be mustaches there.
Good. So I think it may be a little more for the competition aspect. It may be a little more strict on the definition of mustache for awards. But
so I should shave my beard off then.
There you go, just right up the middle.
Right up. Jeez. I don't think that's a good idea. I will stab you. Okay, so let's talk about. All right, so you said the first year that you guys did it, or one of the first years, you guys raised $1,500.
Yep.
Okay. Now, has that amount grown every year?
Yeah. Man, we went from about $1,200 to $1,500 that first year to I think $2,500 the second year, and then it kind of went up from there over the past 9 years. Our biggest year was actually about a $10,000 year.
Wow.
So that was a good one. Last year we were around, I think, 5,000 to 6,000. So,
see, that once again, another thing that I find amazingly impressive, and like I said, how different our events are. How you guys are pretty much a just show up kind of thing. It's very leisurely, leisurely, and our events very structured. Lots of months of preparation, like as we've been talking about getting ready for our competition this summer. I mean, we're sitting 4 or 5 months away, and all the people we're meeting and all the things we're trying to set up for that. And I mean, you just make a few phone calls, make this thing happen, have the same amount of people show up that we have at ours, and on top of that, you're raising twice as much money as we are. So that shows a testament to what you guys started and how successful and amazing what you guys do.
We got a good group. I appreciate that. Thank you. We have a really good group of people and a good crowd that shows up. Like our event, the bars love having us. They have no issues with the people. It's a friendly, happy crowd. They're not brawling on the streets of West 6th, so it takes. Well,
that's a surprise because everyone else is.
Exactly. So I think we're a breath of fresh air for some of the places. And again, like it's been a great charity to work with too. JDRF, we picked it kind of as a joke with Wilford Brimley's mustache, but as we worked with them, we start to have coworkers or friends that, hey, I'll have a kid that has type 1 diabetes. I have a coworker's kid with type 1 diabetes, whatever. And you can kind of see that we're helping people. And actually, our MC for the night, Brian Kenny, who's a local comedian, is a type 1 diabetic, and that's how we got him. That's how we got him involved in the event as well. So
I remember him from last year. He was really good. Really
good.
Funny.
He's a really funny guy. You can actually see him at Pickwick and Frolic quite a bit.
Is he like the house band?
Yeah. He's MC. He's been doing a little bit of opening acts lately, so he's doing a good job in Cleveland, and we're happy to have him. And we kind of have an established group of folks. So Gene's been there every year as our DJ. Brian Kenny on emceeing the event, and then our guest judges, Steve Presser, who's the owner of Big Fun, and then Matt Fish, the owner of Melt, have been there the last 4 years or so, and people recognize them and gives us a little bit of.
Well, they both businesses in Cleveland are very established and do, and charity wise, they both do a lot of good stuff too.
Yep, good guys. So we're happy to have them involved also, but. Yeah, man, the event's almost to the point where it runs itself a little bit. Like you said, we have an established group of people working on it, and my wife and I end up doing most of the T-shirt stuff, but it's a good group. Yep.
All right, let's go down a different road here.
Yeah.
Something we have not discussed. What is your opinion of the new Star Wars movie?
Oh, new Star Wars movie. I liked it. I don't know if I liked it because it was brought back some nostalgia, because it basically was the same as
the original
Star Wars with different characters.
Yeah, New Hope, just with a new paint job.
It was. But the effects were good. It was entertaining. There was, but yeah, the story was very similar to the original. Actually, the other founder of Bashio with me, they went and saw it at the OmniMax, which sounds like it'd be awesome. They had to leave because it made them completely nauseous.
So what I know is there were 7 theaters in the country that were showing it on, I think, 7mm film. And in Cleveland, the Science Center was the only theater. Is this what you're talking about?
Yes, yeah. Yep.
So over the past, I think, 2 weeks, they've been showing it at the OmniMax Theater and at the Science Center in Cleveland. And so I saw the Polar Express there and got sick.
If you don't do well with motion sickness, is maybe not the thing to go to. But
I could. Yeah, and we were thinking about going to it, but that's good to know because I will not go.
I would avoid it. Yeah.
I mean, it is a good movie, but I couldn't imagine it being in your face that big.
No. Well, it's like all completely over your head, almost, 360. So, what did you think of it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I was very scared going into that movie, and I cried. I cried way too much. Well, for a guy, I cried too much for a space opera.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, now I see they're coming out with another Indiana Jones with Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
too.
And a Blade Runner.
Oh,
yeah. Right. He's already signed on for Blade Runner too. So Harrison Ford.
As long as Shia LaBeouf's not in the next Indiana Jones, he'll be all right.
But I miss him in Transformers.
I kind of checked out of that franchise, to be honest.
Even though I like Marky Mark, but I really liked the last Transformers movie. But now I think they've locked in for 5 more movies. And I'm really concerned, and I could be wrong about that, but I'm bad with numbers. Yeah. But I have no idea where they could possibly go with the storyline at this point.
Everything is just being rehashed now, though. So we're still doing Indiana Jones. We got Star Wars again, more Transformers. I heard another Terminator.
Oh, well, and then I heard...
With Arnold.
Oh, well, see...
I was reading about that the other day. So, people are just out of ideas, man.
It's not a tumor. Okay,
that's what we need. We need another kindergarten cop.
Well, Dolph Lundgren. They already confirmed it. Yes, I just read that one the other day. Dolph Lundgren in Kindergarten Cop 2.
The comeback of Dolph.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
That's ridiculous.
Okay, so what other stuff are you interested in?
Oh, man. I talked a little bit about Michigan State athletics. That's probably not a topic to discuss anymore.
So how did you, when you were on the basketball team, how well did you do?
Yeah, right. Well, in high school, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did not play basketball for Michigan State?
No, I sure did not. I think they won. They went to, when I was in college there, they went to 3 Final Fours and had 1 national championship. So, yeah, they were pretty decent.
All right.
But
let's talk about, how do you feel about a mustache?
Man.
What's your personal... I mean, okay, right now you're wearing a full beard and mustache, and I know in the next few weeks you're going to shave your beard off, which is probably about a good inch and a half long, and you're going to shave it all off for the purpose of your event, Mustachio Bashio, and you've already let us know that you're going to shave your mustache off afterwards, which I'm fine with. I'm not going to give you shit about. But Jerry and Brian will.
Oh, absolutely they will.
So don't show your face at the Hofbrauhaus because Jerry and Brian will hunt you down.
They called me out on that last year. So my problem, I was fortunate enough to be able to start the event, but was not given the genetic abilities to really grow a luscious, wonderful mustache and beard. So I grow it out for the sake of the event, but I know that it doesn't look good on me. I do my best.
You look good with a beard.
I appreciate that.
And I think the picture that you and I took last year, which I'll post as our show,
there you go,
as my show photo, because I found that the other day.
And that was probably the best mustache I've ever had in the 10 years we've done this.
And probably the best mustache I ever had too. I spent a lot of time getting that sucker ready, but
with all the beard oils and mustache
waxes. It was mustache wax. I was using I think it was Honest Amish mustache wax, which is out of around the Pittsburgh area, so I'll put a link to that show note too.
There you go.
But yeah, that was the first time I'd ever tried to actually do my mustache, and the funny part was I was texting pictures to Dr. Adam Cosgrove of the American Mustache Institute.
Is this guy going to come to Bashio? Is there a chance that the
president
of the American Mustache Institute
will
grace us with his presence?
He was going to be there last year, but he was at a wedding, so that stunk.
Wow.
This year, he is within days of them having their first child. So
Yeah, I was in the same boat last year. Like, we had a 3-month-old at the time. It's like nothing. His wife could take care of it.
I wouldn't do that to Chelsea. I love her too much. But I can probably honestly say maybe next year he will be there.
All right. So,
But he will be the MC at our event this summer.
very cool. So we got to keep it going another year.
Yeah, so you'll get he'll bring some fun times.
That's awesome.
But so he's been my advisor, quote unquote, or my guidance as how to properly grow a mustache. My first interaction with him, and that is a funny story because, like I said, I did not know there were mustache and beard competitions, and I went to one and ended up winning for partial beard, and I met a guy there named Neil Sanchez, as you and I have discussed, who's a manager for Melt Bar and Grill in Cleveland. And he's like, hey, I belong to a club. Why don't you come check some stuff out? And he gave me a flyer to one of our events. And so I ended up showing up to this event at, I can't even remember the name of the bar. And I walked into this place with my wife, and there was literally what felt like hundreds of guys with crazy beards. And I'm like, oh my God, I finally found my family.
I'm home.
And we walked to the back of this bar, and it was somewhere on the west side. And I walked to this table, and there's a guy standing there, and it was Dr. Adam Cosgrove, and he looks at me and he's like, nice to meet you, how you doing? Like, the first guy I ever meet, and becomes one of my best friends in the entire world.
That is one of the coolest names ever for a president of a mustache institute also.
Yeah. So, and then I'm like, all right, one of the first things I'm asking him is well, how do you get your mustache so nice? And he goes through this whole scientific thing of 2 fingers, then, and he's all about, and then I use, can you handlebar mustache wax number, whatever hold it was. And I'm going, wow. I'm I really just found my ultimate family. But then he ended up living in Pittsburgh, so my dreams are dashed because the Cleveland-Pittsburgh rivalry.
You can't be friends with somebody from Pittsburgh.
Well, we can do that in the beard and mustache world, but of course there still is the rivalry between the Steelers and the Browns.
Yeah.
Not so much in the baseball teams.
No. Yeah, and the Browns have been pretty horrible.
And definitely there is no rivalry in the hockey arena, so we're fine with that.
Yeah, I got my Red Wings, so I don't really like the Pens. So.
Okay. Now, see, I'm gonna. This is where you and I are gonna disagree, because I've had to latch on to the Penguins because number one,
just out of proximity.
Well, proximity, but there was a player that played for. Well, here's another sports fact. Dumb sports fact, but there was a hockey player that was drafted in mid '90s to the Detroit Vipers. Is that the minor league team? Peter Sikora. Same last name.
The name.
So I stuck with him. He went from them, got drafted by the New Jersey Devils, then went to the Ducks. A couple things around. They went through the big strike, went over to Europe, came back, went on to the Penguins.
So
was with them when they were winning the Stanley Cups in the late 2000s.
And you felt a connection.
I had the connection.
Same Czech last name.
Yes. So I'm
Czech?
just sure.
I think
maybe
I knew
credit card.
Sikora, and he always said he was Czech. So
Was he a SY or SI?
SY.
Oh, geez. Maybe we're related.
SYKORA, also from Michigan.
Oh, jeez.
So,
Yeah. So I there was a connection with the Sikora name, so I had to go to the Pittsburgh route. But once again, that's probably another reason why I get sucked into the Pittsburgh Beard and Mustache, or the Steel City Beard and Mustache Club, and my relationship with them is a direct stemming from being a Penguins fan.
see, so it was kismet, meant to be.
Yeah, and it's all wow.
Your entire universe has been connected by your beard.
I know. It honestly has. Well, and then I try to think back to well before I had my beard, talking in the mid 90s, because I graduated and always grew, tried to grow and couldn't, and I'd always shave it off, and my life was just in shambles. I correlate everything good that ever happened in my life related to my beard.
Hey, find what works and stick with it.
That's right. I mean, it's done a lot of good things for a lot of people.
Maybe I should keep this. Maybe I shouldn't be.
Maybe you should
be a fair-weathered. What did you call it? A
fair-weathered beard grower.
All right.
But you're shaving the beard off, so you're gonna have the mustache.
You can bring it right back, right?
Yeah, you could. Okay. So,
although this is a long time of growth for me, so.
All right. Okay. So, what do you feel about politics? Let me stop you there. We're not talking about it. We don't need to go there. So, all right. Well, I guess since we've kind of, is there anything that? Is there anything?
So the event is on April 9th,
yes.
Saturday. It will be at downtown Cleveland on West 6th, 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock at Barley House. Get there early if you'd like your beard or mustache judged.
To be judged. Make sure you get there early. That is like the key factor in this.
We're not a we're not a professional organization like what Scott has here as far as judges panel and everything. So we have some folks that'll go around and nominate people for different award categories, and then they'll go up for judging at the end of the night. And then after Barley House, we move on to Dive Bar across the street.
Where everyone stares at you weirdly.
Correct, yeah.
That's a good time, though.
Although all the winners will have a table there with champagne.
Champagne
for the champions table. So we have that. So again, April 9th, downtown Cleveland. You can check out Mustachio Bashio on Facebook. Our website is also linked there.
MustachioBashio.com.
Mustachio-Bashio.com, yep.
Yes, that's an easy one to remember.
Easy to remember, and you can buy your shirt there and everything. So
yeah, pre-order your shirt now.
Yeah, absolutely. Some will be available at the event, but if we run out, we run out.
What is the cost of the event?
So really, all the money we raise is through the sale of T-shirts. So right. $20 for the T-shirt, that gets you in the event. It gets you drink and food specials. And yeah, that's really all you need is the T-shirt.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Mike. It was great talking to you.
Appreciate it.
And Godspeed.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And cut. Thank you, Mike, for that awesome interview. I had a great time hanging out with you for that little bit. It was a real shame that we missed about the first hour of our conversation because we were dumb idiots. Well, not we. I was the dumb idiot, and I didn't turn the microphones on. It wasn't that I didn't turn them on. I had them all hooked up, and we were just... As soon as we saw each other, it was just like, bam, we were like right to business, just talking about everything, catching up, and it was just a good time. It's always a good time to catch up with old, new friends. I feel like I've known him for a long time, and I hope to be working in the future with him on some projects and stuff, so keep your eyes peeled. I'll have more information. So once again, thank you, Mike, and thank you, Mustachio Bashio. If you're in the Cleveland area, come check it out. It's for a good cause, JDRF. Come out and help the children. If you go to thebeardcaster.com, you're going to see something new and cool. Yeah, that's right. You're going to see a really handsome man on that front page. It's a pretty sweet YouTube video. So what you want to do is you want to click on it and watch it. It's only about 7 minutes long. It's not too much of your time, of your life. You've already invested almost an hour into this. So what's another 7 minutes? Except this time you get to look at me when I talk. And this little video I did is a product review for a product called Groomed Gorilla. Awesome, but I'm not going to reiterate what I say in that. You got to watch it. You got to hear what I say. And you can decide whether or not you'd like to partake in their products, which I highly suggest you do. So go check them out. Once again, you can find a link in the show notes. I'd also like to thank Waffender Whisker Oil for all the wonderful things they've done for the Beardcaster since we've started. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your products. I've shipped a few sample bottles out to a few different listeners, so you're going to get a surprise in the mail soon. So let me know what you guys think. You can email me at thebeardcaster@gmail.com. Once again, you can find a link to his website and order his products through my show notes. Remember, Waffender Whisker Oil. They are also on the top of my links on my homepage, so all you got to do is just go to beardcaster.com and they're right there on the top, so check them out. I'd like to thank everyone. Make sure you go to iTunes and Stitcher and subscribe, share, tell everyone, tell your coworkers, tell your boss, be like, hey boss, I'm going to grow a beard and this is why, and then give him my podcast, and he'll probably be like, all right, I'm going to grow one too. We all should, and he's going to make everyone in the office grow a beard just because why not? So make sure you share it with somebody. I don't care who you share it with. Just share it with somebody. If you really think this is worth anything, share it with somebody. It would really help me out. I'm going to get ready to cry because I feel like I'm begging, but I'm not begging. I'm acting because I'm an actor. I'm acting like I was sad, like I needed it. So, I'm not really a good actor. I'm fooling around, so just trying to kill some time. Okay, well, I guess that's it for this week. Stay tuned. We might have some more cool little things popping up and down all around in the next few weeks. We'll have some cool announcements of some sweet projects I've been working on that I want you to check out. Just very stressful time right now. I have my fingers in 1,000 things and going 1,000 different directions. So my apologies if I seem like I didn't give it 100% today. I'm really trying. I've already recorded this episode like 8 times. I've run through it 8 times, and it's been a rough one. So practice makes perfect, and the more I practice, the harder it gets. I don't know why. So once again, check it out on iTunes and Stitcher. Share with your friends. Have a good day. Go hug a dog. Do something super awesome for someone. And I'm out of here. Thank you.